Hello guys, welcome to my channel.
Claire Lucia Wineland. She was born in April 10, 1997 and lived till September 2, 2018. She was an American activist, author, TEDx speaker and a social media personality through her non-profit organization, Claire's Place Foundation. She provided support to children and families affected by cystic fibrosis, CF. She died from a stroke 1 week after receiving a lung transplant at the age of 21. Wineland and a friend, China Batch 11, wrote the book Every Breath I Take, Surviving and Thriving with Cystic Fibrosis, published by Business Ghost on September 21, 2012.
I realized that I became the person that little me would have been inspired by. So I want to encourage you all, instead of wanting to be in the future and wanting to do something good in the future, do something now. Maybe for once we should stop trying to get over our problems, trying to get rid of our problems, trying to jump through hoops to evade our problems. Maybe we should start using them, because they're one of the biggest gifts you will ever be given.
You just have to have the courage.
And that is very empowering. So let's just live in the moment.
We'll see where it goes from here.
Well, I'm actually going to say goodbye for now.
Really, I am so grateful to everybody who was there for me.
Muniba Mazarai Baloch. She was born on the 3rd of March 1987, also known as the Iron Lady of Pakistan. She is a Pakistani activist, anchor, artist, model, singer and motivational speaker. She became the National Ambassador for UN Women Pakistan after being shortlisted in the 100 Inspirational Women of 2015 by BBC. She also made it to the Forbes 30 Under 30 list for 2016. Muniba is also Pakistan's first model and anchor who uses a wheelchair. She uses a wheelchair due to injuries sustained in a car accident at the age of 21.
Close ones. The ones who were supposed to stay with me were the ones who left me when I needed them the most. I was devastated. Life was completely pointless, aimless, colorless. I was tired of wearing the white scrubs, looking at the white walls, doing nothing, sitting idle. I really didn't want to live. But then I realized that instead of crying for the people who were not meant to be with me, and for the legs which I have lost, I have people around me who want to see me alive. I have so much to be grateful for. So let's stop cribbing, stop whining, because it's pointless. The best decision that I took in my entire life was the painting that I made in the hospital with a deformed hand. That's how I added colors in my colorless life.
Nicholas James Vujicic. He was born the 4th of December 1982. He is an Australian-American Christian evangelist and motivational speaker. He was born with tetraamelia syndrome, a rare disorder characterized by the absence of arms and legs. He was born without fully formed limbs. According to his autobiography, his mother refused to see him or hold him when the nurse held him in front of her. Nick Vujicic has no arms or legs, but has learned to play football, swim and even surf. The 26-year-old is mainly torso but has a small foot on his left hip which helps him balance and enables him to kick. Mr. Vujicic uses his single foot to type, write with the pen and pick things up between his toes.
I wish I was given more to do more, but doing your best with what you have, those are the people who master full potential in their life. And I'm never going to be a motivational speaker to say everything's possible, just dream and it's going to come true. No, not just hard work, but your full potential. Sometimes our dreams don't come true, but to understand with the right attitude, hey, whatever's meant to be, I'm going to reach my full potential. And that's what it's all about. And I didn't know why I was born this way. I didn't believe I would actually become independent, married, now with 4 kids.
Jordan is Australia's youngest senator who journeys with a disability. Prior to taking up the post of Senator for Western Australia in November 2017, Jordan dedicated his time to youth and disability advocacy and was also a student of politics at Macquarie University. Jordan has portfolio responsibility for disability rights and services, youth, trade, peace and nuclear disarmament, which covers defence and veterans affairs. He is currently a member of the Senate Select Committee on Autism and is deeply involved with the Disability Royal Commission. Deeply involved with the Greens from a young age, Jordan is passionate about using his time in Parliament to act on climate change, reduce youth unemployment and implement a full NDIS.
I reached out via social media and asked a simple question. If you could say anything to the people in this place, what would you say? And I'm rather thrilled to be able to say that the response was quite overwhelming. Over 130,000 people saw our post. Almost 3,000 people told me what is important to them and what they think we should be doing here in this Parliament. And that's not including the countless phone calls to my office, the emails and the many letters I've received, as well as the conversations that I've had with constituents. Now, it should not come to a surprise, as a surprise to anyone in this chamber, that many of these messages were laced with sentiments of frustration, anger, and sadness.
Stella Jane Young was prominent disability activist, writer and comedian born on the 24th of February 1982 and died at the age of 32 the 6th of December 2014. Young was born with a genetic disorder called osteogenesis imperfecta, which caused her bones to easily break. For 3 years she worked the comedy circuit, making light of her own experiences. To help shift misconceptions and stereotypes about disability, she received the Best Newcomer Award at this year's Melbourne International Comedy Festival and hosted 8 seasons of Australia's first disability culture program, No Limits, which aired on Channel 31 and community stations across the country. She was so talented, so widely loved and respected.
Motivational speaking. When people in wheelchairs come to school, they usually say inspirational stuff.
Aaron Fotheringham was born in November 8, 1991. He is an extreme wheelchair athlete who performs tricks adapted from skateboarding and BMX. Although he used crutches early on, he has been a wheelchair user full-time since the age of 8. Fotheringham uses a customized WCMX wheelchair designed by Box Wheelchairs, which is both lightweight and features 4-wheel suspension. He competes in the Vegas Jam Series in skate park competitions, usually against BMX riders. He placed 4th in the intermediate BMX division in a competition held at Sunny Springs Skate Park on August 26, 2006.
That was the best night of my life. I get emotional every time I watch it just because, I was working on that trick for a year, straight. I probably got over 20 concussions trying this stupid trick. And finally, that night I landed it, I went for it, and I broke my chair. And just after all the crashing and all the pain, I was so frustrated, and I went down to go fix my chair, and everyone's still up at the ramp, and I'm in my little lodge room, and I just laid on the floor, and for a second I gave up. I was just I'm over it. If I fix my chair, what are the odds that I'm gonna be able to go land it? I've been working on this for a year, so many injuries, and I'm just gonna lay here. And after a couple seconds, I was well, that's pathetic. So I sat up and I fixed my chair, and I just kind of pushed back up to the ramp. And then a couple tries later, I ended up landing the double backflip. And I got emotional. I may have cried a little bit, just a little bit, after I landed that, because I was just so, it really showed me that I almost gave up on one of my dreams, but I just stuck with it through all the negative and all the hard, trials in it, and I ended up landing it. So that was, the most important trick I've ever landed.
Claire Cerebral was born the 30th of August 1979. She is an English actress, singer, playwright, children's author, and former television presenter for the BBC children's channel CBeebies. In 2018, she portrayed the role of Penny Stevenson in the BBC soap opera Doctors. Bernal was born with a right arm that ends just below the elbow. Her initial appearance on CBeebies sparked a controversy about children's television presenters with physical disabilities and the apparent prejudice of complainants.
But I suppose I could sit down here and talk to you. I like your trainers. I'm Kerry, by the way. Well, it's quite funny because people always ask me about my disability and what my childhood was like. I think they imagine it was quite horrendous growing up with one hand, but actually it wasn't something that I was really aware of. I was made to wear a prosthetic arm. The doctors advised my parents that that would be the best thing for me. They thought it would help me to use a knife and fork and to get dressed quickly, and I really rebelled against that and used to cut the fingers off and draw tattoos on it and try and lose it and hide it in cupboards all around my school. Well, my time at school was quite unusual really because I'm severely dyslexic, so I couldn't read or write until I was about 10. I did really struggle with maths and English and reading, but I had a really wonderful teacher when I was about 7 who was very patient with me, and she used to give her lunchtimes up and come and sit with me.